Okay guys, welcome back to the fourth episode now of the Bishy P podcast. We're delighted to say today that we're joined by Scottish sports TV presenter Eilidh Barbour. Good morning, Eilidh.
Morning.
And we're also again joined by Mr. McHugh, looking very sun-kissed there.
Yeah, I've had a bit of sun over the weekend. I must be honest, I'm actually really nervous for this.
Yeah, I must admit as well.
I'm super nervous.
Yeah.
So hopefully it all goes to plan.
And we're also joined by Mr. Johnson.
Good morning, guys. Good morning.
So I'll kick us off today. If you would mind telling us a wee bit about yourself, Eilidh.
Sure, well, I am a sports broadcaster. I cover Scottish football for Sky Sports, and I do a lot of English football, English Premier League, FA Cup, the Women's Super League for BBC Sport, and I also present all the BBC's golf coverage, which is roughly 6-7 tournaments a year when golf is being played. So nice and varied, and a few little other bits and pieces get thrown in along the way, but that's the main season calendar.
Superb. And where are you from, Eilidh?
I'm from Dunkeld in Perthshire.
Excellent. Okay. So how did you find your school career? And did you stay on till fourth and fifth year?
Yeah, I stayed on right through to the end of sixth year. I was quite young, so I was still 17 even after my full 6 years. So I didn't feel kind of ready to leave school until the end. Still didn't feel ready to go to university even after that. I went to Australia for a year and eventually felt ready enough to go to uni. But I wanted to stay on as well. I enjoyed just the kind of life of being at school, you know, the routine and being with friends and having a bit of fun, and I suppose I enjoyed some of the work as well.
Superb. What was your favourite subject at school? And was there anybody that was a kind of influential role model for you throughout your school career?
Favourite subject, probably a fairly obvious one, was PE. I think I did every module it was possible to do in PE before I even got my sixth year. My school didn't have the opportunity of doing higher PE. Is it still Hires?
Yeah.
It's still Hires. We didn't have an opportunity for that, but our school was too small, didn't have the facilities. So I did PE up to standard grade and then did as many modules as I could. But I completed them all before I got to my sixth year. PE was...
Was it the Royal School of Dunkeld you went to?
That was my primary school, and then I went to Bridalbin Academy in Aberfeldy for my high school.
Okay. That sounds far too posh for us, Mr. McHugh, doesn't it?
Certainly far too posh for me.
So posh we didn't even have a higher PE department. It was just a small school. But English was probably my other subject that I really enjoyed. And my English teacher was actually... I had quite a few English teachers, but the one I had in my fifth and sixth year, she was quite a strong, powerful woman. Always kind of taught you to have a voice, and that, you know, you shouldn't ever feel like you couldn't do something, you know, that men were doing when you were a female. I didn't think was a big influence on me at the time, but looking back now, it probably helped a lot when I came into what certainly was back then a bit male-dominated environment. But probably my biggest role came from out with school, and that's Hazel Irvine was always my role model that I looked up to, and her career had a big impact on me wanting to do what I ended up doing. So it was probably more Hazel Irvine was a bigger role model. Certainly that English teacher, Mrs. Salisbury, was probably a role model without me really knowing it at the time.
There was a story behind the Hazel Irvine, wasn't there? There was, I read or heard that you'd written her a letter.
Yeah. I wrote to her when I was about 14. Wrote her a letter just kind of asking how you even go about getting into that profession, because it was quite I suppose it wasn't one that many people pursued at that time. It's a bit different now, but back then it was when I spoke to my guidance teachers and stuff, they didn't have a clue how I would do that, or even what subjects I should choose, or what universities I should look at. You know, it was something that was, I suppose, quite niche back then. But so I wrote to Hazel, and she wrote me back, which was great. I told her that when I did meet her, I wrote you a letter, and she said, "Oh, thank goodness I replied." Would you be embarrassing?
I think I might do the same and write one to Scott Brown. Ask him how to become a professional footballer.
You're already a professional footballer.
I could always go higher.
Superb. And were you involved in any extra activities at school? And how did you feel these kind of equipped you for the working world?
Yeah, it was quite different at my school. It took me nearly an hour to get to school every day, and nearly an hour to get home. So there wasn't much hanging around. The minute you got out of the school gates, you were on that bus, and you still weren't home till 4:45. I actually missed the first goal in the Scotland-Brazil World Cup opening match because my school bus didn't get me home in time. So, I didn't really do much. I mean, I played in orchestras and did school plays and did sports days and all that kind of stuff, like during the school. But no, not so much. I mean, we didn't really have sports teams or anything like that at the school, because everybody was so far away, traveled so far to get.
Yeah.
You do play quite a bit though, don't you? In terms of away from your actual job. Like I've seen kind of on Instagram and Twitter, you play a bit of golf, a bit of football, and even snowboarding as well.
Yeah.
Did you pick that up when you were younger as well, and that's kind of carried on, or?
Yeah, I think because living in the countryside, you do just get out and do a lot of stuff. So we did as kids. I always played football. I played for a team when I was sort of 14, 15. Played a lot of football with just all the kids in the village. We played street hockey. We played tennis, swimming, all that kind of stuff. So we just did a lot, so which makes me a little bit like a jack of all trades, master of none. We just all played a bit of everything.
The best way to be, like you said. Best way to be.
And then I played football kind of not seriously, but kind of more competitively when I was at university, and then carried that on. So pretty much now, but I still go and kick a ball around every now and again.
You just to add to that, see when you were at the World Cup doing some broadcasting, the Women's World Cup, were you tempted to take your boots along, get involved?
Oh, I'd have loved it. But no, those girls are a different level from me.
You're big St Johnstone fans, is that right, Eilidh?
I am, yeah, local team.
Yeah.
So
Superb.
Been going there since I think I went to my first game. I was, would have been 9 or 10.
Yeah.
First time I went.
Have you managed to replace? Is Tommy Wright been replaced yet?
Not yet. No.
Is there anything in the rumour mill? Anything we can? No.
No, I mean, I think most St Johnstone fans, myself included, are hoping that they can somehow entice Callum Davidson back up the road. But when the championship season starts, restarted next month, I don't know whether it's a bit of a waiting game or.
Right.
Yeah.
So
fair enough.
We'll see what happens. I think we've got a bit of time before we need to really worry about it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next question from me, Eilidh, could you tell us a wee bit about your journey into the sports media?
So I went in Stirling and did film and media studies, but specialised in audiovisual production, which is a practical side of the degree where you learn how to put together radio programmes, TV programmes, documentaries, all that kind of thing. So that was a brilliant course actually for me to learn a lot of the technical side of what goes on when you're making pictures go on to people's tellies and that kind of thing. So, I loved my 4 years in Stirling, really good fun. And after that, while I was at it, I was sort of trying to get some work experience here and there. was doing some bits and pieces for BBC Scotland, and that kind of thing, just working for free. Back then it was all working for free. I just tried to get known, get in, and show that you kind of knew what you were doing or knew what you were talking about. So did a lot of that, then just kind of continued doing that after I graduated from university. It became quite difficult I moved to Edinburgh, which was probably a bad move given the how much it costs to live in Edinburgh when you're a struggling ex-student. So it was a struggle to balance actually working and being able to pay my rent and do work for free and still try and continue that. So I went abroad for a year and taught English, a foreign language, and was able to come back and kind of really concentrate sort of 6 months on just the media side of it. And I just sent out emails, made phone calls, met people, and did lots of work experience. I did a course at the BBC did called BBC Blast. I don't know if it still exists, and it was a kind of 6-week sort of experience program type thing. I think they have similar things now. It's called something different, I'm sure, but I did all of that stuff, and then eventually got a job working for NBC doing Scott Sport, cutting football highlights, going to the games, lots of matches, cutting highlights for the program, and kind of just continued from there. You just always hopeful when one opportunity came to an end, another one would come up, and I've been really lucky that kind of been the case. And I've worked in Scotland doing Scottish football. I worked for BBC Alba doing their Scottish football, and then the rugby. I worked down in London for IMG covering golf, and then I went freelance, came back up, and pretty much started all over again. The emails and the phone bashing, and got some bits and pieces of work, and I've just been really lucky. Opportunities have come, and really enjoyed it.
So is it a case of companies contact you, or you contact them, say, I'd really like to cover Scottish football? Or is it
it's a little bit of both, I think. There's a lot of networking, there's a lot of kind of trying to meet people and speak to people, but it's sort of, when you're busier and you're seen by people, it's easier because then they know who you are. And so some of my work will be people who will contact me, say, can you do this? And some of my work will have been me speaking to people and making contacts and networking. So it's a bit, it changes. It's changed a lot as my career has kind of progressed in that regard. I have to do quite so much in the way of emailing and that kind of thing now.
Yeah.
So you'd mentioned a couple of kind of jobs that you had. You mentioned that you went away to Korea, was it, to teach?
Korea, yeah.
How did you find that? That's something I find really interesting.
I hated it.
I was expecting a completely different answer there.
It was honestly it was probably the hardest year I've ever had. Right. I was in a rural community. Right. There were no other Western people. Very spoke English. But it was a purpose. The reason I went to that area was because there was so much work. So I knew that I could earn a lot of money to come back and then have that spell where I was able to not have to worry about work when I got back. So if I'd gone to Seoul or Busan or one of the big cities, I would have come back and probably not made any money. So pointless. So yeah, it was pretty hard. Like the teaching and everything was fine. The kids were lovely. A lot of them were really eager to learn, and they were funny. And we did adult classes. There was adult classes as well. And they loved to take us out and show us the area and teach us about their food and all that kind of thing. So it was an experience. I don't regret it at all, but it was a very long 12 months.
It's not quite Dunkeld, is it?
No, it's amazing food though. The food's fantastic.
Imagine. Do you think, you said you found it quite challenging, but do you think it helped you develop some skills that have helped you to be successful in your career today?
Yeah, I mean, I think it probably increased my determination to actually make this career work, because you never know. It's not the kind of career where you know that you're good enough. There's nothing really to kind of prove that you are doing a good job. You know what I mean? There's nothing. It's not something that you can do a course and then suddenly you can do it. You know, it's all very subjective. So some people might like what you do, some people might not. Some people might want to give you a job, a lot won't. So it probably helped a lot when I got back and I was getting a lot of rejection emails, not getting the opportunity and all that kind of stuff. Like, you know, not going to in that year, those incredibly long 12 months to not make this work. So it probably made me more determined and probably helped me accept some of the knockbacks and just keep going and keep going. And it definitely helped in lockdown, because I can tell you, if I can get through 12 months out there, I can get through these weeks here.
It sounds a wee bit like you had 12 months of lockdown over there.
It felt like it, I tell you.
Right.
Right, so I think
me
Mr.
up next?
McHugh's going to ask you some questions on professional career.
Yeah, so my first question is quite a generic one, but what would you say is the best part about working within sports media?
The best part, I would have loved to have been good enough at sport to have had a career as a sports person. That was never going to be the case. So for me, the best part is it's like the next best thing. You know, you feel part of the event, and okay, you're not out there doing the sport itself, but to be so close to it.
Sounds a wee bit like Mr. Irvin with the referee. He was never good enough to play.
Sounds a wee bit like PE teaching. We weren't good enough, so we became teachers.
Yeah, you're moulding the next generation of sports people. Yeah, no, I think that's it for me. It's just being so close to these incredible athletes and kind of being able to feed off them a little bit and make you feel a little bit like you've been part of something pretty special. Some of these events that I've been lucky enough to go have been very special.
You spoke a lot about your career journey, and there's been I've a list here with just little things that have branched off: STV, rugby, final score, football focus, Olympics in Rio, women's football show, Premier League, and Masters. Like, the list is endless. The question was, what was your career journey like? But I suppose it's been a bit of everything, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been. I think I've just never wanted to turn down an opportunity. I've never, you know, like football is probably my main sport. It's the one I know the most. It's the one I play, and it's obviously the most watched sport in the country. So football would be my main sport, but it doesn't mean that I don't want to do something like Winter Olympics, where, I mean, I've snowboarded in my life. I'm not any good at it. I enjoy it, but you know, having to like talk about curling and figure skating, and you know,
it's funny you say that, because I actually listened to a podcast you were on with Adrian Begovic, and it sounded as if you were an expert in Winter Olympics.
Yeah, that's the research. That's the research part of it. But I mean, you would never say, oh no, I do football, I'm not going to do, or I would certainly never say, oh no, football's my sport, I'm only going to do that. It was incredible. It was such a different kind of event that I've never experienced before, and I absolutely loved it. And I think you always quite often learn more from those kind of challenges than you would from doing what you're comfortable with. I quite enjoy putting myself outside zone a bit. And I tell you, the Olympics definitely outside my comfort zone. That came to my depth of knowledge. There was a lot of research went into that one.
Right. Just a side question for myself. Like, the women's sport is becoming more and more prominent on television, even presenters as well. Do you think that's something that we're seeing a lot more of and will see a lot more of in the future?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously been a big push towards women's sport, but it's always been there. And I think for me, what I look forward to is a time where it's just football. It's just rugby. And whether it's men or women playing it, it's a sport, and we are all capable of playing that sport to a high level, regardless of whether we're male or female. And I would quite like to stop comparing. I think that happens a lot. Well, women's football is not as fast, it's not as powerful, it's not as well. Of course, it's not. I mean, we are built differently, but it doesn't make it any less enjoyable. It's just slightly differently played, but it is ultimately, at the end of the day, 11v11 on a football pitch, playing the same rules. It's just football. And we don't say, the Spanish, when Spain won the Euros without a striker, and they were all small guys and they played the game differently. We didn't then compare it to, say, a German team or something. Say, oh no, you can't play at that Spanish. It's football played in the way that football can be played differently amongst different teams and with different skill sets and with different types of players. So yeah, I look forward to when we just say it's football.
Totally. Do you think, has that, see, in terms of the media industry, has it been a bit of a hindrance to you, or do you think it's something that it's actually helped you?
What do you mean?
In terms of your opportunities, like with being a female.
Being female? I think I've been very lucky. I have come into the industry at a time where there has been a conscious move to have a more equal gender balance. I mean, there's no denying that. But at the same time, people can say, "Oh, you've just got the job. You're a female." Well, there's hundreds of females who are also trying to get jobs. So I have to have some pride in what I've managed to achieve. But yeah, there has been a bit of a push towards, and it's just coincided with my career progression, that there has been a more conscious decision to have a gender balance. But
again, like you say, it really shouldn't matter though, should it? It should be the best person who put it up at their job should get it. Yeah,
and it's the same all through everything, through life, through society, through when we talk about should we have female referees or male referees at women's matches? Yeah. Should we have male referees or female referees at men's matches? It just should be the best. For me, it should be the best person for the job. So
yeah. Right, so this is another question for myself. What have been the highlights of your professional career? So you touched on the Winter Olympics, but is there something that's maybe stood out?
I think probably the Women's World Cup was huge for me because
is that a bit of a jolly? Is that a bit of a jolly in France with the weather?
No, my goodness, the first couple of weeks were freezing. It was really cold. I was stuck up in the north most of the time.
Oh, God.
Rennes and these places in Paris and stuff, and it was really cold. It warmed up. No, I think it was seeing Scotland at a major tournament. I mean, I haven't, it's been 20, however many years since we've seen that, and to be part of Scotland's journey, although it ended in that horrendous way. It was really, that was quite powerful for me to see Scotland team, and because I've always said I want to cover a major tournament where Scotland are part of, and for a long time it didn't look like that was ever going to happen, because to qualify for a Women's World Cup is really, really difficult.
Yeah.
So it just shows the steps that the that the Scottish girls made to get to that stage where they can actually be part of a World Cup. But that was amazing. I love the golf events. I do. And last summer to see Shane Lowry in Northern Ireland. I mean, you talk about a jolly. I mean, the party around that place is unbelievable. I've never seen anything like the pubs after that. I mean, they were absolutely ramshackle, but that whole atmosphere was incredible. At Portrush, the Open being back there, that was really special. And then obviously Augusta, going to Augusta.
Is it like what you see on television?
It's better. Yeah. I don't know how to describe it. It's such a strange place to visit, because it doesn't, when you watch it on TV, you can't almost imagine really that it is a real place, if that makes sense. And then to go and see Amen Corner and just the whole environment of it and everything, like I'm just keeping my fingers crossed I get out there in November.
If you ever needed a personal assistant, I'm there.
It's all a special one.
I just ask a wee question, just going back to the World Cup, really. So when I was following it, the US team just seemed to be on a different kind of level. Was there any did you notice any difference in terms of maybe the preparation or the mentality going into that tournament?
That is just the US women's national team. Their mentality is different from everybody else. It's just all about winning. And it's fascinating speaking to some of the England girls who played in that semi-final, and they talk about the tactics that the Americans were doing on the pitch, and the little niggles, the little fouls, the little comments, everything that was happening on the pitch. They just wanted to win that game. Like, it's all about winning. But they have a very different kind of outlook on the sport. So the US players will play, like Megan Rapinoe, for example, probably played about 3 or 4 games for our club last year. Okay. Because they all just get taken out. It's all about the national team. So the American girls actually play club football. So they're all together. They tour a lot. They play loads of games, and it's all about being like in that peak condition.
Is it almost a club mentality then? It's almost like a club with a regularly and training regularly. They know each other very well.
Yeah, they're at camps all the time. They play. I mean, this is the big, if you're talking about the whole gender thing, the women's national team and tour and make money and obviously win tournaments way more than the men's. I don't even think you could really sell a men's game in the States in any way like you can sell a women's game. Women play, the stadiums are full. It's incredible the support they have. So they do a lot of that, a lot of the touring things, a lot of kind of friendly tournaments where they'll invite nations over and they'll come to Europe and they'll, play a few countries over here, and they just spend so much time together. And it's like the training is obviously very intense, and it's all very tailored. They've got the best sports scientists, they've got everything. So they are on another level. Every other, like Scotland, England, France, Spain, Italy, all those girls are playing club football, and then in the way that the men do, you play club football and then you get maybe a couple of international camps, and then you've got qualifiers or whatever. The US is kind of the opposite way around.
Obviously, we touched on your highlights there. With highlights, there come some setbacks. Has there been any particular occasion or within your career that you've suffered a setback that you've had to regroup and go again?
Well, certainly at the beginning, like I kind of touched on before, there were people are sending in emails and phoning people and going into work all the time. So you do get a lot of rejection. You get a lot of, you just don't hear back from people. So I had to go through all of that at the start. And then when I went freelance again, when I went freelance, had to kind of start it all over again.
Yeah.
And it is hard, and I think when you go freelance, it's harder because you or obviously you only get paid when you work. So it's kind of, you're trying to make a living, but you've got nothing to make it off unless somebody gives you an opportunity. And then there's a lot of pressure, or I have a lot of pressure myself, like to absolutely take that opportunity. So it becomes quite stressful. But yeah, definitely at the start, and then like I say, when I went freelance, a lot, there's a lot of people try to do the same thing, and not everybody gets a chance. So there was a lot of, there's nothing here, there's nothing there, no. But eventually somebody
having that perseverance, I suppose. Like if you get a knockback, bounce back and just go to the next
yeah.
person.
Yeah, pretty much.
See,
no pain for a lot of people.
just focusing on that, a wee personally, has there ever been a time in your career where you've had to wing it?
Winter Olympics? No, I don't know if it's winging it, but it's a lot. When things are live, it doesn't always work the way that the nice little detailed plan that's put together before you go on air. A lot of times things don't happen the way that you expect it, or so you're having to kind of put things together live. Yeah, you know something's coming up later, but they're like, no, we're putting that in now because we haven't got that. So yeah, improvising, and that's why it's so important that you know what you're doing, because then you can not wing it, but adapt. If you like.
Spend a lot of time as podcast stars now, can't we?
Do you spend a lot of time researching kind of the week up to the event or the day before the event, Eilidh?
Yeah, I do. I mean, when the season's in kind of full flow, I'll listen to Radio Scotland, then I listen to 5 Live every night. I'll podcasts. Obviously, there's with Twitter and stuff now, it's a lot easier because you can put everything there. I'll obviously watch highlights. I'll look back on previous formations and all that kind of thing, and then we'll do a lot. And then I write for the Scottish games when I'm presenting for Sky. I write my own scripts and stuff. So I find that quite handy, kind of like a research tool as well. Yeah. Like, sort of throw in, like, look up little stats you might think, what happened last time these two teams met, whatever. So I do a lot of that kind of research, stats and that sort of thing. We get some stats as well, like Opta provide stats for the Premier League. Stats they provide. The Premier League's unbelievable. And then for big events and the golf and stuff, then it's a little bit more extensive research, just because I'm not immersed in the same way. Podcasts have been brilliant, and and stuff.
What about when the cameras are off? So, for example, you've done your bit at the beginning, the game's been played. Is that there a jolly? Or are you still watching the game, trying to pick things up as it goes along?
Yeah, we watch the game. So I'll watch the game with whoever my guests are, and we're constantly speaking to the truck and the producer and saying, maybe the pundit will come up, maybe the pundit will say, they're getting a lot of joy down the left-hand side, he's out of position a lot, whatever, and we'll try to build little runs of analysis that we can kind of show why one team are doing well, one team are not, or we'll pick an individual player, or we'll look at little moments in the game and that kind of thing. So you're constantly sort of trying to build that. It's quite hard because with Sky being a commercial channel, you've got to fill all the ad breaks in. You've actually only got about 2 minutes at half time to do everything that happened in 45 minutes before. So you got to keep it quite tight. But so a lot of the time in the first half, you're looking at things that you might talk about at the end of the game, and you're kind of looking for little trends that may continue to happen through the game. Obviously, we're looking at refereeing decisions as well.
Yeah.
All the time.
If it was Mr. Oven, there'd be a few to go over.
Right.
That's the next question, Eilidh, then, just in terms of, so you've met a huge range of different kind of personalities. If you get any kind of experiences that stick out in your head, any interviews or any personalities that you've met that really stand out for you?
Yeah, there's loads of guys that are just really interesting to talk to, but one that actually stands out is strange. It's strange because Formula One is not something that I have ever covered at all. I've never done a race. It's not a sport I watch a lot of. But we went down. It was the start of the Formula One season, and it was when I was for Eilidh, and they wanted to do something to mark the start of the Formula One season. So we went down and met David Coulthard at the Red Bull factory place where they build the cars. And he'd retired. He was working as a pundit for the BBC, but he was involved in Red Bull. So he took us out and, he's quite a superstar in the sporting world. And he sat down, he did the interview, he was really nice, and then he insisted on giving us a tour, he took us all round, he let us sit in the car, they had under wraps, they had the new car for the new season, so we can't show you that because
That's a wee sneaky peek.
and it was just that sort of, when you don't know what to expect and people are really busy and they've given up time, and then just to be that kind of welcoming and hospitable, it was, it always kind of stuck out for me. I've always, it was really appreciated because we didn't expect it at all. That's always good. But I also did when I was working at the Euros in France, Hublot are one of the big sponsors, and they always put on some quite incredible events with big names. And they did a 5-a-side tournament, and Maradona was the captain of one team, and Pele was the captain of the other team. And so they were managers, and the teams were made up of Seedorf was playing, Romario, incredible players at this event. So I did get to interview Pele and Maradona, which was incredible. Maradona was not speaking English, but Pele spoke in English. And they're not really my generation footballers, but they're probably two of the greatest footballers that have ever lived.
Is Maradona as mad as he seems?
Yeah. He actually played. He put himself on.
Brilliant.
So I can at least say I saw Maradona play live.
I know.
He'd lost a bit.
Just a wee bit.
Do you still get nervous? Do you still get nervous in those situations? Like when you know it's a big name person, maybe it's going to be a pundit or you're going to interview? Or does it just come natural now?
I don't do as much of the interviewing as I used to, but I think you get more nervous when you know you have to ask a difficult question. You know that.
Give us an example.
No, just when managers are under pressure and jobs are on the line, that sort of thing. Because ultimately, we all kind of, I think, get sometimes we get kind of caught up in the drama of it all. But for some of these guys, that's their career, and you kind of have to basically go and say to them, "You've just been rubbish at your job again, and are you going to get this?" It's. I don't like asking those questions, but you have to. And so they always, and you don't know what the reaction's going to be either. So you always have to kind of, those ones are always, maybe nervous, but.
Have you ever had one really difficult interview where you just wish you're halfway through the question and you thought, why have I asked this?
Probably hundreds. I'm trying to think of an example. Oh gosh, there probably have been loads. Ronnie Dyler used to tell me I asked stupid questions, but I think it was just I think that was more what I said before, the kind of having to say you've lost again and the European journey actually under Ronnie Dyson was quite tough.
Yeah.
Out in Malta when it all went.
You remember that well, wouldn't you? Must have been good.
Chris, a good friend of Eilidh, Chris Commons, kind of lost the rag, I think.
He had a little hissy fit.
The toys completely went out the pram that night, if I remember.
It was such an awful night. It was pouring the rain. It was freezing. The game was awful, and yeah.
What about? You ever had the opportunity to, if you're covering that St Johnstone match, how do you become impartial then?
It's weird. You watch it in a different way. You don't watch it. For one, I'm not sitting in a seat. You know, like I'm not sitting where I would sit if I was watching the game with my dad or whatever. So it feels different, but you do just kind of watch it in a slightly different way, which is kind of hard to explain. But you know, I might have had a little fist pump when they scored that late equaliser against Rangers when Boydie was standing next to me. I'm not gonna lie, I might have, but when the camera comes back on, you know, it's I think it's because you know that you have to talk about it, and as a St Johnstone fan, I can say St Johnstone are very, very rarely going to be the story, particularly when you're playing. You either have lost the game, so you don't really matter that much, or you've taken points off one of those two, which means that they then become the story. So it's not. I would probably find it harder if I supported a team that was always the story. Like if you supported Celtic or you support Rangers or supported maybe one of the Edinburgh teams or Aberdeen or something, they tend to be more the story.
Yeah.
So it might be difficult. For me, it's a little bit easier, I think. So, but you just kind of watch it in a sort of strangely different way.
Yeah.
The next question from me, Eilidh. What's lockdown life been like for you? What have you been getting up to?
Oh, geez, I've got like a little routine where I've had. It's actually been a little bit like going back to when I did go freelance that first time, and I found out then that when you don't have a lot to do work-wise and stuff, you have to be quite disciplined, or it's far too easy to just sit in bed and drink cups of tea and not get out of your jacket at 2 o'clock. So I've been quite disciplined with my routine. So yeah, I get up, do a workout. I'll have some food, I'll go for a walk, I'll make all those things, probably do a bit of checking of emails and that kind of thing, and have like a little chat I've been like kept in contact with some of my work colleagues and bosses and that sort of thing, sort of see what's happening with it, particularly at the moment with football coming back very soon down south. So I will get back to work in a few weeks, which will be really nice.
Will that be from home or from the side of the pitch?
No, they are.
I've seen a video of somebody commentating from a house.
Yeah, that's been happening with the Bundesliga because they can't obviously travel to the stadium. So I'm not 100% sure, but from what I've been told, the Premier League want everybody in the stadium to remain quite separate. So instead of a commentator doing the commentary and going down to interview players or manager or whatever, they don't want people moving around the stadium. So we'll have pitch side reporters, who will be kept separate. So that we will be at the stadium for the reporting side of it. I don't know where the commentators will be, whether they'll be in the stadium, whether they'll be doing them all off screens. But yeah, it will just be nice to kind of feel like I've got a purpose again. You know, work's such a big part of my kind of life that when it's taken away, it all feels very strange. So yeah, I've just been trying to keep myself busy. I've walked more miles around Pollock Park than I would care to put together, to tell you. I've walked every blade of grass in that place.
Is it back to me again, aye?
Yeah, you, Mr. McHugh.
I've actually got a wee personal question, right? So, Chris, you've worked with Chris Boyd at Sky Sports, and you've also worked with Chris Sun at BT Sport.
Yeah.
Who really is the biggest pain in the neck between the two of us?
Oh, that's a tough one. That is a really tough one.
The two of them are the same.
I'm gonna say I've worked a lot more with Chris Sutton, and I've done a lot, like done track and stuff out to the games and stuff with him. So I'll probably say him just for that.
Can I add to that question?
But I do miss him. I miss big Chris Sutton. I do.
Can I add to that question? So there's a few, I'm going to be a bit thin on top, and there's a few kind of hair transplants going about in that broadcasting team.
Yeah.
Do they look as good in person as they do on the screen?
James McFadden's is brilliant.
I know, I thought that.
Yeah, his is the best. His is the best, definitely.
The before and after pictures are incredible.
Yeah, his is definitely the best. But it is a running joke that if it's raining, those two, if it's McFadden and Boyd that are with me, those two need to get up to the studio sharpish. They can't be out in that rain too long.
Maybe get your wee discount, Mr. Johnson.
I know, I need to get one.
See, just on that, like, see away, like, obviously asked earlier about like, away from the cameras. Do you have like wee WhatsApp chats and you text each other, like laughing and joking, or is it just kind of a professional basis or what?
No, there's a bit of a mix of both. Obviously, we have chats and stuff about what we're going to have in the programme and the build-up and all that sort of stuff. But there's usually a little bit of joking around in there as well.
So just got the last question, but advice for young sports broadcasters and presenters. What any advice for young sports broadcasters or presenters coming through?
I would say don't make a decision on exactly what it is that you want to do in terms of I want to be a presenter, I want to be a commentator, I want to be a camera operator, whatever it may be. Like, don't pigeonhole you too early, because I never wanted to be a presenter at all, and it just kind of worked that way, and now I love it. Like, I wouldn't change it, but I probably would never have felt I had the confidence or the ability to do it. So I could have taken myself out of that by pigeonholing myself into something that in the end I might not have been as good at.
Yeah.
So that's quite important. But I think the biggest thing, when an opportunity comes along, if you get some work experience, if you get an opportunity to shadow somebody for a day, use it. Yeah. The number of people who have come for work experience, or I've seen for work experience, who don't open their mouths, don't ask questions, who don't try and learn from people, just be annoying. Even if you feel like that person that you're shadowing really wish that you would just stop talking. Like, that's your opportunity to learn, and that's your opportunity to develop some sort of skill. Because if you take that opportunity and then you get another opportunity and you've actually used the first opportunity, you go into the second one with a depth of knowledge that maybe those around you don't have, and that always pushes you higher. And so ask all the questions, even if you think they're stupid. Just ask. That's what you're there for, and that's what the person you're shadowing is there for, is to teach you. So those would probably be my biggest things. And then just, if it's your dream, just keep doing it.
Yeah, brilliant. No, excellent piece of advice there. Finally, the finisher question that we've got: if you were having a lockdown dinner party, you've got 5 guests to invite. Who would you invite, bearing in mind they had to stay 2 meters apart?
Right. Well, some of mine are not actually alive.
That's all right.
So resurrect them.
Lockdown's done amazing things.
So I'd probably, for me, the most influential, the biggest sports person in my generation is Tiger Woods. So Tiger would have to come. I remember Jordan, and I remember that Bulls team, but vaguely when I was very young. So I'm going to say Tiger Woods for the sport.
Have you met him? Have you met Tiger Woods?
Only in press conferences. I've never actually interviewed him one-to-one. Which I think is actually a different experience now to what it was.
Yeah.
He seems a lot more relaxed. If he'd won Carnoustie, wasn't it the Open that he was contending for on the final day? But they did say if he won, he would have come up to the studio. And as much, like, you know, I would not begrudge Francesco Molinari that win at all because I love Molinari, but that would have been pretty special to have Tiger in the studio. But anyway, I was very glad that it was Molinari if it wasn't going to be Tiger. Obviously, for a sing-along, bit of Whitney Houston, got to resurrect her. But, you know, we can do the karaoke later on with Whitney. Nelson Mandela, somebody that I just fascinates me. I'd love to have had you could probably sit down with him, or, you know, obviously when he was still alive, sit down with him for a month and he still would be interested in what he was saying and maybe by what his life was like. He's just an incredible figure in history. Billy Connolly for a few laughs.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Have Billy in there. And then Sir Alex, probably.
Ah, right.
Yep.
I've been to a couple of things where he's spoken and he's got amazing stories. And I'd have to have a football in there.
So no Chris Sutton or no Chris Boyd?
Oh no, I get their chat far too much.
They could be the waiters. They could be bringing the food out.
Yeah, they could be bringing the food in, those two.
Brilliant. Well, I think that's it.
Yep. This has been really good. So thanks very much, Eilidh, on behalf of the PE department for joining us.
No problem at all. Rest of your lockdown.
Thanks very much for joining us, guys. Mr. McHugh, Mr. Johnson as well, good to see you. And anybody that's watching this on our YouTube channel, make sure you follow us at Bishy PE. Okay, thanks, guys.
Yes, take care. See you later. Thanks, Eilidh.